So yeah, I kind of I love the idea about what Andre was doing with he owns Speedway and he owns Fuel Warehouse, but he never saw himself getting in the Fuel Warehouse, and he asked that I want to come work for him. And I had to get my dividend. I work somewhere everywhere sometimes. And the question came up. They were like, "Well, why didn't you buy your own fuel station?" And I was like, dude, because that's a lot of work. And I wasn't thinking about it because I get dividends off of where I work at, and I negotiate different contracts where it's in my best interest not to be so involved in certain businesses and certain industries. Just to have a small little piece of something sometimes is a lot more than having a lot of nothing. And for myself personally, the opportunity came up, and I was like, "Yeah, I'll find a way to purchase it." They made an offer, and on Sunoco, and with Sunoco, I was so excited. I wasn't even going to release the information that I had entered into a deal to purchase Sunoco, and then I got to hear him speak about Fuel Warehouse and Speedway, where he was having a conversation. He was like, for him, the most important thing right now to him is not the customer. And I'm like, that's crazy because you go look at all these other people, and they were like, the customer this, the customer that, the customer this, customer. And then the customers weren't happy because I work at Speedway part time. I work in the executive office and the executive suites. And the customer wasn't happy. And he was like, what do I care? I'm the owner. And I was like, what does that mean? And there was a lot of other people, they were like, well, what does that mean? And he was like, well, if I'm not happy first, how can I please the customer when I'm not happy? My employees aren't happy. My employees aren't doing what they're supposed to do. I'm not getting everything that I need from this resource and this government agency and this government authority, this bank. I'm not getting everything that I want because there are conversations being had that I'm not privy to and I don't care about. Until I'm happy as the owner, nobody's happy. And then I was like, that's one way to think about it. And then Sunoco came up, and I was like, do I really want to get into something like this? I really do love my job. I love what I bring to the table. I love where I'm at. And then I was like, yeah, let's do it. So I went in with my offers on Sunoco, and then of course I'm learning a little bit of how the business runs on Fuel Warehouse side. And he was like, I want to go into electric vehicles. I want to go into electric grids, and I don't want to be the industry leader for that industry, but I recognize that my customers have needs that I can't currently supply and that other fuel stations have yet to supply. And we have to actually get on it here in the United States and between us and Canada. And he started telling us a little bit about why he purchased the type of vehicles that he purchased. He was like, we have to have something that represents our brand, our image, and it extends to all of our other portions of our companies and the other franchises because other employers might not want to buy their personnel vehicles, but to me, it's not an expense, it's an investment if my employees can use it every day. We run this huge fuel empire, and then we don't have vehicles that use our product. We have this fuel station chain, and we don't want to be the first ones to use our own product. That doesn't make very much sense to me. We don't want to buy vehicles that use the fuel, that love going on the roads. We don't want to hire truckers that love driving for the sake of driving. It's always some emergent need. And he was like, you know I want to be in concessions. I want to be in the food market. I want to be in the food industry. I want to be in the culinary arts section. When you walk into my fuel stations, I want you to see my employees happy. I want you to see them driving the vehicles that they're driving and go, well, how do I become somebody that can work at Fuel Warehouse? And I was like, I'm going to do my company kind of like that. I like Sunoco. And if I get into this, I want to be kind of like that. And I want to be able to be in a position to actually enjoy and reap the benefits of success. I want to be in a position where my employees and staff are happy before my customers, and then it extends out to my customers rather than my customers please first and they'll bring us money. I'd rather show them that we brought value before my customer ever stepped in the door. And I was very, very pleased with how they present themselves about the vehicles that they want, how they're going to allow each one of their personnel to have their own vehicle in the company name to drive and to use the fuel from the actual fuel station in places that they go, and expand into the electronic charging market and to assist with the modernization of our society. I enjoyed it, every single bit of it.